Alright, let's perform a bit test of some features here that I think may work in DCS. Let's try it out. Alright, so what we want to bit test here is we want to test our ECM. We want to take our ECM and place it in standby and then to bit. And then we want to turn on our RWR. And we want to place it into bit by selecting bit. And now we want to watch our select bit, auto, turn our dynamics on, right? We can have multiple things go into bit at the same time. We could have bit out our radar too. I don't know why that's not shown, but there's another feature we could have bit on our UFC. That's not sure why they didn't have the UFC bit on here, but let's see. So we had the display not ready. Let's select that and watch our dynamics go into a test. It's going to give us these displays, and it does it for that amount of time is plenty. We can hit stop. So one more bit test that we would have to do would be the FCS bit, and there would be two modes of FCS bit. There would be a deeper mode for us to use if it were below a certain temperature. So when we hit that, we want the flaps to be in auto, and we watch our flight control page go through the bit. We select FCS, and I use Y on my keyboard, and we do it twice, and then we'll go into a test here. And this lets us know if anything is bent. And what is a bit and what is bent? Bit is built-in test, and we say it's shipped a bit and it is bent if it is broken. So if you have an item that is broken, and it is downable, or if it's not, it's just bent, you've got a bent INS, you could fly without it, then you go with your bent INS. Let's do a fuel now built-in test. We're going to select our bit page over here, and we want to go into fuel level bit, and here we can see we'll do all bit here, and we'll do fuel transfer bits. They'll go into test, and we'll get deedles for fuel is low, and we'll get an external transfer warning. That'll just let us know that that system is working, and that's how that works. Alright, so he wants us to go to 27. We're going to engage this till C cell and put 270 enter. This is going to tell us where to go. We have an arrow that points this way across the TACAN course line, and the tail end is the right end to go to. So that's going to tell us for sure how we get to the designated takeoff point, runway 27. So now let's bring this up here where we can see it, and let's put our flaps down here. So we're not going to taxi with our O-bogs on. We're not going to taxi with our chaff flare on. We're not going to taxi with our ECM on. We'll have all that stuff on standby, right? We have ECS in standby mode, right? We have radar in standby mode, and we're ready in standby mode for any of these items. And the O-bogs will leave off because we're kicking around. Maybe there's another jet in front of us, and the O-bogs are a scrubber. They do have the ability to get clogged up, from my understanding. We didn't have them. We had LOX tanks. They were sealed. They were a good and a bad thing. You definitely had to wear a skull cap under your helmet, and you couldn't wear. I had to use flight boots. I couldn't wear my flight deck boots because they couldn't have steel toes, because the toes would be wore out or something. So they did give me a set of special black shoes to fly. They were boots, but they didn't have steel toes in, to the best of my knowledge. Maybe they were composite or something. I don't remember. I had to give them back each time. They didn't let me keep them, bastards. I had to get my flight. I got one flight suit, and I gave it to my cousin, and I hope he appreciates it. I hope he can still wear it. Alright, so we're on the long taxi, and we're going to go down here, and we've set our jet up for a Transcon. We're going to go on a long distance travel flight, and we want to maximize our fuel and our efficiency. So we want to set up data on our HSI, and we want to enter waypoint 59 by scrolling down to 59. We want to box with push button 2, air-to-air waypoint, and scroll back up to waypoint 1 or 0. It's totally up to you. Then we want to hit HSI again. I also like to go data, AC, tac blim to nav blim, so when I use auto mode I don't turn so sharp. Tac blim causes you to turn very sharply, and nav blim allows you to turn in a navigational way. So now let's get ourselves set up for takeoff the way we like it. We now want to go to FPAS, and we want to hit, let's say we want to use waypoint 59 as our home, then that's what we set it up for. But I like to put 58. We're going to use climb. So we're going to hit the climb button, and how this is going to work is it's going to talk to us and tell us how it wants us to climb out, right? So it'll produce a climb effect by right here above our HUD. You're going to see 462. That means we want to climb, level off at whatever assigned altitude, and then speed up to 464 knots, and then pull up 25 degrees and climb out, or whatever degree you can manage. Okay, so the idea is to follow the guide of this box up here, and if it tells you to go faster, you nose down to go faster. If it tells you to go slower, you pull up to go slower. So you might increase your nose pitch quite a bit in your FPAS climb out, or decrease it quite a bit in your FPAS climb out to try to match the prescribed speed. So we're going to demonstrate that real quick. So remember, we're in external tank mode, and that is because we have selected our external tanks to wing and centerline override to transfer all of that fuel from the centerline and the wing stations up into our internals, so we're evenly balanced in our internals, and our internals aren't just dry from sitting there on the deck for 45 minutes while we waited to taxi and to be armed and all the things that have to happen. You don't just start up in the real world and go on a joyride. Not a thing. There's a process, and it takes a long time. Especially, like, let's say you stopped for fuel somewhere at a civilian air base, like we did oftentimes. You were just in the Congo line, man. You were just in the Congo line for landing. I don't know that there was, or there probably could have been, but we just got in line and landed like everybody else. Never did overhead brake at Dallas. Maybe you could, but we just didn't. Alright, so we're lining up here on 27. We're going to get in here. Now remember, we're draining our tanks into our internals, so after we take off we want to unset that, right? And that's just a matter of looking down and clicking some switches. Nothing you got to do immediately. You can get yourself in level flight. So now we're sitting here. We want to go through some things. We want to do checklist page. We want to set. Now we want to turn OBOGs on, right? Seat armed, harnessed needs to be set. We want to check our flaps. They need to be at half, and we're pretty heavy. We're 46,000, so I'm definitely going to go 16 on this takeoff. We've got room, so if I were short takeoffing, I'd probably use more than 16. But let's use 16. Let's clear our advisory bit that we get. It's new, and I don't know why we get it, but I love it. Let's put our HUD repeater up. Our flaps are set to 16. We're lined up with our course line, correct, and we're prepared for takeoff. Our bingo is set. Let's set a joker of, let's go 8, since we're at 17. 85. Alright, so we're going to run up, and we run up Y to 80 and above. It's for our deedle-deedles. If we heard a deedle-deedle now, we would have to check what it was about. We don't have one, so let's go forward, aft, left, right, round the horn, aileron deflection, Stabs, rudders. Stabs, rudders. Alright, let's get ready for takeoff. Straight burner. And let's roll. Now we're going to turn these off now because we're good to go. We don't got to worry about this anymore. Let's turn these off. And we've took our nose steering off. And now we're all rudder, taking off. And here we are climbing. Let's get up. And now let's bring our gear up and our flaps up. And let's nose forward. We can ease off on the burner. And now we want to get to 464. So let's level out at 450 and let's tell ATC, hey, we're going to hammer down and do a tactical climb out. So engage burner. We're looking at 464. Let's climb out now. And we're going to nose up. And we'll try 35 degrees. Let's see. So let's ease our nose down. And we're looking to match 464. That's close enough right there. We're speeding up a little bit, so let's pull our nose back some. Right now it's telling us we want to get slower so we can climb higher. Let's pull our nose up more, and let's get to matching the 450s. All right, there we go. We're going to play a little balancing act here until we match right with the descent and climb. So there we go. It's going to be about 25 degrees when we get said done. And we're climbing out very efficiently, just so you know. We'll pull up our F-pass now since we're all the way up and show you that we have a nice efficient climb. And we can nose up a little bit more because we're faster than that. So let's get our nose back up some. There we go. And let's just hold that. Autopilot, attitude hold. Let's keep this going. This is a nice climb. Let's nose back down. Just a little thumb pressure and keep matching the numbers there as best we can. So we can nose down a little bit more. And that's how you climb out. Let's say we're supposed to get to 36,000 feet immediately. There you have it. We're climbing out to 36,000 feet immediately. And we want to get our nose down now, get our speed back up. So we're going to ease into it, not exceeding 0.5 Gs because it doesn't feel good on anything. And it starts shit floating in the cockpit if you get negative Gs. So we're just holding that down, thumb pressure down. We come out of burner in a minute when we get our speed back up. But the burner's running efficiently right now, and we're at 34,000 feet. So we're going to continue climbing to 35, it says. It wants us to get to 35. We're going to come out of burner now and just let this puppy roll at 100% mil.